A warm, relatively snowless winter meant disappointment for many of those across the Northland as the calendar turned over to 2024. Beargrease, a yearly tradition, was canceled.
It was a super tough decision, and yes, the emotions are high.
And lots of our Northland businesses that rely on our more typical winter weather felt the pinch.
It's been in the millions of dollars that has been lost just for the town, right? So if you're adding the area, say the county, then you're in the tens of millions of dollars easily.
January kicked things off with a visit from President Biden here in town to commemorate the impact of the infrastructure bill on a local landmark.
For decades, people talked about replacing this bridge, but it never got done until today.
In February, the North Shore would lose an icon, the 80-year-old Lutzen Lodge.
It must just be devastating for this whole community.
Spring would see protests in Duluth as it would all across the country.
We're setting up an occupation in solidarity with all the other occupations.
Turning to the lake, the Coast Guard announced in early June that the Mishippicotten was taking on water after an underwater collision. Eventually, she'd be brought to Superior for repairs. Though Beargrease might not have made it this year, one tradition certainly did, Grandma's Marathon, seeing participants brave the rain for 2024.
It's not preferable for us, but
good for the runners.
But it's good for them. It beats the heat for sure.
Summer brought disaster for many throughout northern Minnesota. Flash flooding affected several counties, but they all worked to pull together.
I tell you what, my neighbors don't get along with each other that well. But when this crisis happened, like a team of horses, they all got in the track and they took off together.
2024 saw Minnesota in the spotlight as Governor Walz ran for vice president. The campaigns would see Trump and St. Cloud trying to flip Minnesota red and Walz and Superior hoping to keep Wisconsin blue. Neither would get their wish. Back in Duluth, the summer would see the debate over homelessness move from outside City Hall to into its council chambers.
On the issue of homelessness, we can all agree that the status quo is not acceptable. Duluth has a long way to go to address the gaps we face in housing, shelter, and supportive services.
In August, the camp in Priley Circle would come down. September would see some Anishinaabe returning to their spiritual homeland, Madeline Island, to commemorate 170 years of the signing of the 1854 treaty.
And it just means everything to be part of the seventh generation to come out here, whether it's canoe, paddle, just to get out on the water and get over there and enjoy Treaty Day.
As the school year began, we saw bus accidents, including this one up in Cherry.
How do you miss a bus? People don't watch. They don't go slow. Everybody's in a hurry.
Thankfully, no one was fatally injured. Injuries did mount in the southeast after a costly hurricane season, but we met Northlanders who responded to those impacted.
It's certainly a challenge. There's a lot of heartbreak that came through with it.
Closer to home, the Northland also felt the impact of the death of park ranger Kevin Grossheim, who died in the line of duty rescuing visitors in Voyageurs National Park.
He was a helper at heart. He was volunteered with EMS and the fire department and was always helping people.
Then, the community in shock over the senseless shootings that took the lives of a family of 5. Aaron Abramson, as well as Catherine, Jacob, and Oliver Nephew were murdered before Tony Nephew then took his own life. A shaken community came together to remember a family lost. Crime and punishment stories would continue in December. First, the announcement that the Duluth Federal Prison Camp would close, a facility employing almost 90 people.
It's going to lead to just disrupted family lives. People are going to have to uproot and move their family somewhere else.
Then, clemency was granted to Duluth's Jim Carlson, who'd served a decade behind bars for federal drug charges. Those who helped put him away expressed shock.
Many people had a lot of time and energy invested in this case. A lot of families were damaged. A lot of families are still struggling today because of what he peddled.
And as the year wound down, we did our best to get into the holiday spirit, Christmas, Hanukkah, and of course, fireworks. Just scratching the surface there on everything we covered in 2024. We hope you'll stay tuned for 2025.